Hello, folks, and welcome back to Chris Wyatt Africa. This is Chris in central Pennsylvania.
But she got me on the counter. It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
Saw me banging on the sofa. It wasn't me.
Hey, picture this. It wasn't me. Today, Jacob Zuma finally made a plea in the corruption trial against him that is 2 decades overdue. Also pleading not guilty was Thales, the French arms company that are accused of bribing his financial advisor, Sheikh Shapir, in order to win the tenders for the arms deal back in 1998 and 99. Zuma was president of South Africa from 2009 to 2018, escaping justice throughout that time. During his tenure as president, remarkably, the government decided not to pursue the corruption case any further back in 2011. They started that decision, and in 2016 decided we're not going to pursue it. Zuma left office in 2018, and this was resurrected after he left office in 2018. But today, crowds gathered outside the courthouse in Pietermaritzburg in KwaZulu-Natal, cheering on the former president, a throng of supporters for him. His defense team called for removal of the state prosecutor, Billy Downer, on the grounds that he held no title to prosecute. They claim that the prosecution is political and Downer is biased. Listen to Zuma's plea here from News 24.
In consultation with your legal representatives, these charges have been explained to you. You understand what they entail.
Yes, I do.
May I ask you then as to how you plead to the charges that have been put to you, which are respectively counts 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 to 18, with the sub-counts and alternatives that have been read out.
Yes, I heard them.
How do you plead to them?
I plead not guilty.
Sir, you've heard the charges that have been put from the indictment. In respect of accused number 2, who you represent, they relate to counts 1, 3, 5, and 6, with the sub-counts and the alternatives that have been read out this morning. Likewise, as with Mr. Zuma, I take it you are aware of those charges. You've no doubt had the benefit of legal advice in regard thereto, and do you understand those charges?
I plead not guilty, my lord.
You plead not guilty to counts 1, 3, 5, and 6, and the alternatives. Thank you very much. You may be seated.
I even had her in the shower. It wasn't me.
Now, despite the attempts by the Zuma team to have the prosecutor removed, the presiding judge here ruled that that matter would be dealt with on the 19th of July. So this thing is not going to end anytime soon or even get started. But at least Zuma appeared in court finally after refusing to do so in the past and simply walking out of other events like the Zondo Commission, which is for state capture, a unrelated event, an entity that he himself created but claims has no jurisdiction now. It's pretty comical in the farce that is South Africa today under the Angry Naughty Children, also known as the African National Congress. Now, this deal is tied to a ludicrous decision to purchase Gripen fighter jets, Hawk lead-in fighter trainers, Type 209 diesel submarines, and frigates or cruisers, whatever you want to call them, depends on who sold them, who bought them, but Navy ships. All of this was spent. The figure for this was supposed to be around $4 billion, wound up being closer actually to $7 billion US dollars in the end for all the overruns and everything that's involved in this. It also included defense offsets for South African defense companies to shore up their industry to produce components as part of this arms deal. Involved companies from Germany, Italy, Sweden, Britain, France, and South Africa. To date, in this entire episode of vile, disgusting theft of public resources and the unnecessary purchase of all of these weapon systems, which have had virtually no value whatsoever to South Africa in the past 2 decades, when homes could have been built, roads could have been fixed, the state power provider could have been funded properly, businesses could have been given seed capital for entrepreneurship, and education could have been improved instead of degraded. Instead of having the low expectations and the expectation that black South Africans have no agency and lowering standards to 30% entrance passing scores to get into university, the ANC could have used this $7 billion to build, flush toilets in public schools, actual schools, electrify schools in the Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal. Yes, but only 2 people have been prosecuted for or convicted for this thus far. First was ANC's chief whip, Tony Yangani. What an idiot this guy was. He took a discount on a loan So they got a cheaper luxury car. That's how inept the corruption was at the outset of this. But since then, the South Africans have mastered the process of stealing from the state, at least the ANC has, and illegitimately taking people's money and not delivering services and governance to them. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison. And when he went to prison, his followers cheered him on and carried him to the prison and then carried him out. He served just 5 months of a 4-year prison sentence. 5 months of a 4-year prison sentence. Now, Zuma's personal financial advisor, Schabir Shaikh, was jailed for 15 years back in 2005 for soliciting a bribe on behalf of Zuma from Tint, the local subsidiary of a French arms company, Thales, who also pled not guilty today, Thales. Now, Schabir's situation was fascinating, to say the least. After just 4 years in prison, he was released for medical grounds, a compassionate release from prison, instead of serving the full 15 years for his corruption, for funneling money to Jacob Zuma from this deal. Well, guess what? Shortly after being out of prison, he was spotted on multiple golf courses and enjoying the high life after getting out. How did we get here? Well, lots of ways we got here, but one thing is back in 2011, the Swedish firm, used to be a car manufacturer but still produces military hardware, including aircraft, Saab admitted that 24 million rand was paid to secure a contract for fighter jets. But the payments have been made through BAE Systems, a British company, which is also involved in this. Now, after this commission that Zuma put together dismissed the charge in 2016, investigated this, and over a period of 5 years, nothing came of it. In 2016, they said no new charges should be brought. Isn't it nice when the fox guards the hen house? But in 2018, the Supreme Court backed the decision that charges be reinstated, and we see now that Zuma faces 18 counts of corruption, racketeering, fraud, and money laundering. In total, he's accused of accepting 783 illegal payments. It's simply astounding, the scale, the scope of the fraud. Well, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. So said Shaggy. So says Jacob Zuma. The near octogenarian, looking a little old, looking a little, maybe, I don't want to say disheveled. He didn't look disheveled, but he looked a little bit less than comfortable and less than the normal defiant stance he's taken in the past in the courtroom. But folks, hey, Jacob Zuma says, it wasn't me. More to follow in this long overdue corruption case in South Africa. Hey folks, if you're not a subscriber to Chris Wyatt Africa, why not become one? Get objective news and analysis about events across Africa, and particularly for Southern Africa, and for those who influence Africa from outside. Thank you for your time, for your patronage. God bless. And don't forget to give us a like by smashing the like button down there on the video. Take care.
She even told me